So we're going to use the t-formula to solve some trigonometric equations. Now you might find another way to solve these same problems, but in this case we're just going to use the t-formula to do this. Now this is actually in the formula sheet here. Okay, so it's under compound angles, and then you get this, and this is what sine A, cos A and tan A are. But it's all reliant on if t equals a on 2. We often use it as x on 2 like it was here in the learning goal. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do exactly what the question's asking me to, and I'm going to use the t formula to solve this. So instead of sine x, okay, I'm going to pop in this things here, and instead of cos x, I'm going to pop in this thing over here. Alright, so let's do it. So we've got 2t 1 plus t squared minus 1 minus t squared over 1 plus t squared is equal to 1. Okay, so it's equal to 1. Now I'm going to try to get t the subject. Okay, so I'm just trying to get t as a subject. So I'm going to multiply everything by the denominator of this side, which is 1 plus t squared, 1 plus t squared, and this will be 1 plus t squared. Okay, so that'll cancel out with that, that'll cancel out with that, and we're left with 2t minus, now make sure you put the brackets around the top of this, equals 1 plus t squared. Now let's keep going with this. So let's ski jump this negative, and we get 2t minus 1 plus t squared is equal to 1 plus t squared. Because we've got t squared on both sides, we can cancel that out. Okay, so we're left with, if I go plus 1, get rid of that there and go plus 1 here, we're left with 2t equals 2, therefore t equals 1 by dividing both sides by 2. Now it feels like, it looks like we're at the solution, but remember, we're just using a form that helps us solve trig equations like easier because we're really good at algebra. Okay, t is actually something, and it's here highlighted in yellow. So now I'm going to substitute that in. So I'm going to go tan x on 2, because I'm using x not a, is equal to 1. All right. Now that's really good. I know what inverse tan of 1 is. So we've got, so now this is our angle here. So I'm going to go x on 2 is equal to 45 degrees, which is awesome. Okay, so I've got an answer there, but remember we've got this thing to deal with. Now remember, with domains, sometimes we can just go put it over 2. So 0 over 2 is just 0, and then 360 over 2 is 180, so we've got 0, x on 2, 180 degrees. So we're only interested in 180 degrees of it, so we're only interested in this quadrant and this quadrant, which means that, no, in this quadrant, because that's where tan is positive. Now you can see that we don't have another solution. So we can say, therefore, x equals, if we times both sides by 2, 90 degrees. Okay. Now there's one caveat with this solution. Okay. So we've got our answer. We think we're 100% right. But there's one thing we've got to know. Because we used this thing, which is tan equals x on 2, there's a few answers that tan gives us that there's no answer. For example, if we go inverse tan of 90 degrees, so if we go inverse tan of 90, what do we get? So, sorry, not inverse tan, tan 90, what do we get? We get an error, okay? So, because we're using this guy, all right, and I'm just going to make a copy of him, all right, and put it down here. Because we're using this guy here, 90 degrees we can't have, okay? So, I'm just going to rub that off there. And we're going to get back to it. So x equals 90 degrees. So, and this is x at the top there. We can't have x to be 180 degrees because 180 divided by 2 is tan 90. And we know that tan 90 does not exist, all right? There's an error, okay? We can't do it, all right? So we always have to test for tan 180 because of this thing happening here. So we need to include that as part of our working out. So I'm going to rub that off and I'm going to put that as part of my working out. So really confident with my answer, x equals 90. But now I'm going to go test for 180 degrees. And I'm going to test it in here, okay? So sine 180 minus cos 180. So sine 180, if I look at my sine 180, if I look at my sine graph, at 180 it's going to be 0, so that's 0. Cos at 180, it's going to start here, go down here, and then go back up. So at 180 it's actually negative 1. So that's going to be negative 1 equals 1. And actually this 1 equals 1, so it's true. So therefore x also equals 90 and 180 degrees, okay? So we always, you'll lose marks if you don't, have to test for 180 degrees just to see if there's a solution there too, okay? Often it doesn't, and it's really easy to test 180 degrees. It's one of those that gives us a lot of the answers, all right? Hopefully this helps. So we're just using the T formula. Remember to test 180 degrees, okay? Peace out.